Hi everyone, welcome to a new edition of your favorite program, Cultures Around the World. In this edition, we're going to be talking about the English culture, covering different themes such as music, actors, and sports. Let's start with, the music, and our first singer is Elton John. Sir Elton John is an English singer, pianist, and composer, commonly nicknamed the Rocket Man, after his 1972 hit single of the same name. He was born in Reginald Kenneth Dwight at March 25th, 1947. At the age of 15, with his mother's and stepfather's help, John was hired as a pianist in a nearby pub, the Northwood Hills Hotel, playing Thursday and Sundays night. Known simply as Reggie, he plays a range of popular standards, including songs by Jim Reeves and Ray Charles, as well as his own songs. In 1967, John answered an advertisement in the British magazine New Musical Express, placed by Williams, then the A&R manager for Liberty Records. At their first meeting, William gave John an unopened envelope of lyrics written by Bernie Taupin, who had answered the same ad. Then, in 1972, John performed at the Royal Variety Performance, where he was upstaged by the Dancing of Legs by Harry Smith, the drummer with the Bonzo Dog Duda Band. John formed his own label, the Rocket Record Company. In 1974, John collaborated with John Lennon on his cover of The Beatles' "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds", the B-side of which was Lemon's "One Day at a Time". It was a number one for 2 weeks in the USA. In return, John was featured on "Whatever Gets You Through the Night" on Lennon's album Walls and Bridges. Later that year, in Lennon's last major live performance, the pair performed these two number one hits along with the Beatles' "I Saw Her Standing There" at Madison Square Garden in New York. John was introduced into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility in 1994. He and Toppin had already been introduced into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1992. John was appointed a Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 1995. John was awarded Society of Singers Lifetime Achievement Award in 2005. He also received a Kennedy Center Honor in 2004 and a Disney Legends Award in 2006. In the 2000, he was named the Music Cares Person of the Year for his artistic achievement in the music industry and dedication to philanthropy. Now we're going to friends with Francisco Castillo. He's going to talk about the Beatles.
It all started in Liverpool with four lads by the names of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Stuart Sutcliffe, and Pete Best. The Beatles started just as another teenage British rock group, but they slowly moved their way up to become one of the most influential rock groups of all time. The first gig for the Beatles was in Hamburg, Germany, which lasted about 2 years. Then, Brian Epstein, a record store manager, discovered them. The drummer was Pete Best, and the bass player, a friend of John's, was Stuart Sutcliffe. Stuart later left the band for love and then died of a brain hemorrhage, and Ringo Starr replaced Pete Best as a drummer. The group felt they needed a new drummer because Pete's skills were not up to the par with the rest of the group's talents. After many tryouts and searches for a deal, the Beatles finally landed a record spot with EMI Records under the watchful eye of producer George Martin and the management of Brian Epstein. Then they took England by storm. When the music of the Beatles first was released in the United States, it didn't catch on at first. In fact, they did not become popular until their second American release single hit, "I Wanna Hold Your Hand". With this song, they landed a spot on the Ed Sullivan Show, which triggered the American Beatlemania in 1964. After the exposure of the Beatles' TV appearance, the group's popularity rose enormously everywhere else in the world. but like every band, they had many problems. After a long, successful 6 years with a catalog of albums that revolutionized music and production, the Beatles finally broke up. This caused a great heartache for the fans. John was the first one to leave the band, and then was followed by Paul. All four of the all four of the group members created their own records and sold many solo albums with also critical acclaim, but none ever captured their original popularity. The Beatles had a major impact in the world and how it is today. They brought the love of British rock and roll to the American public, and after them, many other British groups became famous worldwide. This is also called the British invasion. The Beatles were famous during the time of the Vietnam War, and they used their lyrics to express their political, social, and spiritual beliefs. This music brought an entire generation together. They changed the way the people dress, the way the people thought, and the way the people felt about each other. And at the end, this is what music is all about.
Thanks, Francisco. That was such a really good information about the Beatles. Now, let's go with Sales Hilton.
Hi everyone, I am Zeus Hilton and I am going to talk about one of my favorite singers. He's also into fashion and recently he started his acting career. I am talking about Harry Styles. His musical career began in 2010 as a solo contestant on the British music competition The X Factor. Following his elimination, he was brought back to join the band One Direction, which went on to become one of the best selling bands of all the time. He released his self titled debut solo album in 2017, which became one of the world's top 10 best selling albums of that year. 2 years later, he released his second album, Fine Line. That album gave him one Grammy Award. He recently published his new single called As It Was, which is the first taste from his upcoming album called Harry's House. It will be published soon, and I can't wait to listen to it.
And to finish with the music theme, let's go with Mario Molina, who's going to talk us about one of the biggest rock bands in the English culture.
Hey guys, my name is Mario. Have you ever wondered how one of the best band in the United Kingdom was created in the 16 years? Okay, yes, I am talking about the Queen, the famous band that composed como Bohemian Rhapsody and We Are the Champions. Okay, the British rock band that enjoyed the greatest fame from the mid 16th and top 10 at the 18 years. The spectacular nature and the assimilation the rock of trends. Okay, symphonic and operatic were some of the keys to this success. So everyone that this album were bestseller even after the date in 1991 of the this later the singer Freddie Mercury. Queens, the Queen's origins date back to the early 1917 years when Joe guitarist Brian Harold May began playing in a semi-professional group called 1984. Brian May later became part of another band called Smile, with which he released of the single Unexpectedly Tim Staffel in the singular of Smile left the formation. To find his replacement, the member of Smile then decided to audition the singer of the group Sir Milk Sick, who was known author the Freddie Mercury and he was quoted una minute. Uh, this was Mercury who convicted the rest of the need from the refundational starting with the name change. He was in 1917 years Queen the legendary was born. Eh, and this day the legacy of this famous band continued after almost uh, 50 years of its creation. Okay.
Thank you, Mario. And now, starting with the actors, let's go first with Alfredo Martinez. He's going to tell us about one of the greatest actors in this culture.
Okay, well, let's start. Hello for everybody. My name is Alfredo Martinez, and I will explain some things about Alfred Molina. Alfred Molina was born in 1953 in London, England. His mother, Giovanna Bonelli, was an Italian-born cook and cleaner, and his father, Esteban Molina, was a Spanish-born waiter and chauffeur. He studied at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London. Well, we know that Alfred Molina was an interpreted in Spider-Man, and he was so famous about not only this movie, but he made a lot of movies around the world. Well, he is an important actor actually in the cinema world, and well, his stage work includes two major Royal National Treat productions, Tennessee Williams, The Night of the Iguana as Shannon, and David Mamet's Speed the Plow as Fox. Okay, we can never forget his splendid performance in Yasmina Reza's Art because it was his Broadway's debut. Yes, here he received a Tony Award nomination in 1998, and this prize was so significant for him because, well, with a Broadway's debut, I think each one will be crazy. Yeah, will be crazy. And remember that art, I mentioned previously that he received a prize in this book. Well, this book, Art, denominated as art, is a work about the subjective nature of human relationships, friendship in particular. He made this book with a French a French actor, and well, it was so significant for him. I will mention some movies that he made, and well, one example could be Prick Up Your Ears in 1987. Biographer John Lahr is writing a book about playwright Joe Orton. Joe and Kenneth, Kenneth in this case was interpreted by Alfred, meet at drama school and live together for 10 years as lovers and collaborators. Yes, he interpreted to Diego Rivera in Frida in 2002 and in the Da Vinci Code in 2006. And this last movie was related to an action scenario, yes, and he participated in this year, and I like this. I like this movie actually. And well, finally, we cannot forget his interpretation in Spider-Man because this movie has been very famous around the world, and it has been considered as one of the best movies in all the cinema theme. In my case, I prefer to watch a Spider-Man movie over another. And well, in I love Spider-Man actors. I love the cast. I love the movie. Well, I love his actuation, and I consider Alfred Molina is the best actor about action movie and dramas movies. Yeah. Thanks for a lot.
And talking about the MCU movies, let's talk a little bit about Tom Holland. And for that, we're going with Luis Javier Davila, who's going to tell us more about him.
Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about of one of the most popular actor in the UK, that is Tom Holland. As you know, Tom Holland appears in a lot of movies in the Marvel Studios and another uh, companies. So let's start. His real name is Thomas Stanley Holland. He was born in June 1st in 1996. So he has 25 years old. And in this June, uh, he he has the birth of this actor. So he was interpreted a lot of movies like The Impossible. It is based on the experience of Maria Bellon and her family in the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. This film was the Tom Holland debut. So this movie was the first movie that Tom Holland appears. Um, and then he was interpreted Peter Parker in the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. He appears in Avengers Civil War and also Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and the last movie that he was interpreted in the MCU uh, was the Spider-Man No Way Home. He did excellent work interpreting Spider-Man because he has a profile of the real Peter Parker who appears in the comics. So this is all about the MCU universe in the Marvel. Uh, the last film that he made was Uncharted. This movie is based on a video game that exists in the real life. Uh, I I think that the job that Tom Holland did in this movie was excellent. So this movie talk about some brothers who who his dream is find a treasure that the pirates hidden in a island. So uh, basically, it is about bounty hunters, and that's it for my side.
Okay, now let's move to another category. One of the most important categories is the entertainment theme. Let's go with David Alejandro, who's going to tell us about the Formula One.
Hello everyone, my name is David Alejandro Contreras Conde and I am here to talk about Formula 1 sport in the UK. I will talk about the pilots and the circuit. Pilots. Sir Lewis Carl Davidson Hamilton is a British racing driver in Formula 1 from 2007 to 2012. He was a driver from the McLaren team with which he was champion in 2008 and runner-up in 2007. From 2013 he became a driver for Mercedes, being champion from 2014 to 2020, making Michael Schumacher 7 titles and runner-up in 2016 and 2021. 13 seasons from 2007 to 2019. 73 wins, 84 pole positions, 41 fastest laps. The first was on the 9 Malaysian Grand Prix on April 8, 2007 on the Malaysian track in Kuala Lumpur. 135 podiums, the first in Melbourne in 2007. Lando Norris. The 2019 season was his first and regular Formula 1 driver. The Briton has teammate and McLaren of Carlos Sainz Jr., where he takes the place left by Badorn. He scored his first points in the championships in his second race, and Bahrain. Coming sixth, he scored points in most races, finished 11th, several places behind his teammate. He became the third youngest driver to climb a podium in Formula One, with the championship finished. Landor was in ninth place in the championship with 97 units, while his teammate Sainz has sixth with 105 points. British Grand Prix. It is a car race for single sisters that has taken place in the UK since 1926. The first British Grand Prix had held in 1926 at Brooklands and was organized by Henry Segrave. Following his participation in the French Grand Prix in 1923 and the Spanish Grand Prix the following year. It was won by the French team consisting of Louis Wagner and Robert Seneschal, driving on the Lake 155B.
Thank you, David, for that information. And last but not least, Daniel Cardenas is going to tell us about one of the greatest boxers.
Good afternoon. Today in the boxing section, I'm going to talking about Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is British professional heavyweight boxer. Scored in the fence he is two-time British, one European Commonwealth, and the first heavyweight champions has will and the WBO International Continental and the WBO International Heavyweight Champion. We have Fury has represented Great Britain and Ireland and the Amateur, winning the ABA in the 2008 before turning professional, and the year later, Curran defends his two-time reach, one European, and the Commonwealth and the first heavyweight champions, Haswell and the WBO International Continental and the WBO International Heavyweight Champion. I am now in the world become to the East King and that the ultimate nickname Fury said. And always aspired to the best and they always wanted to be heavyweight champions of the world and there is lot of the honor and the respect that come white mass my in their layer because there are no Roma in the everywhere country the world. At 33 years old, Tyson Fury can boast of the defense record since he began his career in the 2008 while 32 fights played and the 31 wins and the 22 big knockout and the 8 big decisions. He does not what it's like to lose at the boxer. In the 2015, he was named in the magazine Fighter of the Years of the Defense Heavyweight Champions, Vladimir Klitschko. Tyson Fury and the Council Fury have recharged by professional on the banned substance be to the doping hands. Their championships were wider to Tyson stay away from boxing for 2 years.
And that was all from our part. Thank you all for listening us in this new edition of the Cultures Around the World. We hope to see you again the next week at the same hour. See you later.